Here's what you can look forward to on this episode of the Nice Guys on Business.
And that's really my goal, to do more of these podcasts, get on more stages, to get my mission statement out here and just like let people know, like, credit just a tool to get you going. Whatever you want in life, you can have it. Just fix your credit and then start taking the steps to, invest in yourself. And that's really all it is. But you can't be afraid to unlearn and relearn.
When you decide to be something, you can be it. That's what they don't tell you in the church. When I was your age, they would say we could become cops or criminals. Today, what I'm saying is this. When you're facing the Nice Guys on Business, what's the difference? Go from where you are now to where you could be. Get expert tips to grow your business, to be more productive and more efficient, whether you're trying to build influence, grow your community, or make it rain. Best-selling author of Nice Guys Finish First, Doug Sandler, can lead the way. The Nice Guys on Business is produced by TurnKey Podcast Productions. Now, here's your host, Doug Sandler.
All right, so Nice Guy community, a little bit different today. This is going to be a very, very cool interview. I had a chance to meet Nathan. Pronounce your last name for me, Nathan, because I'm going to screw it up.
So my last name is Azonobi, so it's a Nigerian cultural name.
All right.
So, you know what I mean?
But
he got it right the first time, though.
Azonobi. All right. Nathan Azonobi. All right. He is also known as the Credit Yoda. And this is very cool because what I'm going to try to do is tie in many of the Yoda quotes that I looked up on Google before I got Nathan here. But what really captivated me so much about a preliminary conversation that I had with Nathan before we decided to put him on the Nice Guys was the realness, the authenticity, the genuine nature of just his desire to share his wisdom and his success, and not only just his success, but the failures that he has overcome and the obstacles. Now, look, honestly, Nice Guy community, you know me. You've known me for 9 years. I've been bringing this show for 1,500 episodes along with my partner, Strickland. We've got this thing. It's called, and Nathan, pardon my French for just a second, fucking white privilege. All right. So talk about a guy that does not know all of the obstacles that have to be overcome in life, because I've had, I guess I'm completely immune to it because I'm immersed in this white privilege thing where I just assume that success is going to come to me and there's no obstacle like the color of my skin that's going to get in the way. But when I had a conversation with Nathan, and again, it was a pretty legit, real conversation, he just impressed me as this really cool guy that, yeah, he's a black guy. But you know what? He's a black guy that I could actually relate to, not because there was any black-white thing, but because of the entrepreneurial commonalities that the two of us had. And I'm like, you guys got to hear the shit that he has had to overcome, coming from a Philadelphia environment, maybe a challenging neighborhood, maybe a challenging number of obstacles that had, culturally have been holding him back, but not because he's black, but because of the way that maybe someone in our world might look at someone in Nathan's world. And I want to bring this to you legit because I just think he's a great guy who deserves success in his life because he's just a cool guy. So Nathan, that being said, I'm excited. I hope I haven't offended you with anything I just said.
Nah, not at all, brother. I mean, listen, man, I'm just excited, for this opportunity because, a lot of people, I feel like they're waiting until 24 to start their 24. And it's like, we starting the day on the 26th, you know what I mean? And I was excited for this call, man, because it just lets me go. And again, I started my business in 2019, but I didn't get it legitimized until 2020. You know what I mean? So it's crazy that we're talking. I never thought I would be on an individual's podcast. 1,500 episodes. That's a lot of work. You know what I mean? So I think what they're doing is very wonderful. They're bringing culture together with industry. You know what I mean? And I think that's a beautiful thing. And we can all learn from each other, whatever industry we're in. You know what I mean? It's hard to get up every day and be an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? Because, I feel like I've been on both sides now. I started working my first job when I was 16 and I didn't have to. It was just, I was going to school, man. And it's like, you seen all the kids with like the freshest sneakers or the freshest clothes. And it's like, okay, I just had a baby brother, man. You're not the baby no more. So,
Right.
that whole, when your mom say you ain't gonna be getting all the loving no more now. You know what I mean? You don't feel that until you go ask for something. It's like, well, before I ask, let me really be like, let's look at the situation. I got a baby brother. So, it would be selfish of me. I've gotten whatever I wanted up till now. You know what I mean? So
How old were you when your baby brother came into the world?
when this was like, shoot, he was born in 99. I'm a 93.
All right. So
So
you were,
I'm not yet there, but I'm coming out of that it's all about me stage, I felt. And it's like, man, this boy get everything, man. So, but like I said, it was me, my mom, and my brother at the time. My father, he's around and stuff. It's just my parents separated. So, I was going to mama's house and I'm like, I can't keep asking her, man. And I know she don't have it. You know what I mean? And that was okay. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, 16, senior, 16, I think I was 11th grade going into like senior year. So I'm like,
yeah,
I got
yeah.
a work roster. So, that work roster, you don't have a job, they're going to revoke the work roster. So I'm like, that day I got my work roster, he's like, listen, you got to come back here with a job tomorrow, man. So I did everything in my power. My mom was calling my cell phone. She's like, where you at? You out of school at 3:45. Why you not home? I'm like, Mom, I just got blessed with a work roster. I get to leave 2 periods before, I think I would be there till the 6th period and I get to leave.
All right. Hold on, because I want to draw some comparisons here because this is really cool. Because when I was 16, it was called the Workship program when I was in school in Baltimore, and I used to leave school around 12 o'clock, 12:30, and the last 2 or 3 hours of my day I would spend at a place called the Great Cookie at the Reisterstown Road Plaza, and I would be their cash register guy and making cookies and doing anything at 16 years old. So I completely relate. All right. So my mom was proud of me. Your mom, I'm sure, was proud of you.
She was definitely happy, but she was like, why are you getting a job? So I'm like, well, I got a baby brother now. And it's like, I don't want to bombard you with my wants and needs. And I just feel like I'm becoming, I told her, I was like, I'm becoming a young man. So it's like, that's when it started. I feel like that's when I won't say the entrepreneur spirit, but I started understanding, like, if you want stuff, you got to start working for it, man. Like, Mom and dad ain't going to be here forever to just give you. So being my dad's Nigerian, though, he wasn't feeling it. He like, nah, focus on school, man. I'll get you. But it's like,
was your dad the prince that I keep getting these emails from, the Nigerian prince?
I would say this, man. My dad is he's a man's man. Like, he's hard work, dedication. Whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. You know what I mean? But it's hard. I will say he's a man of little words. So, you know what I mean? When you do good, it's a quick A, and I'm proud of you. Keep it, you know what I mean? But I would say, man, I'm definitely happy I had my father around. You know what I mean? I've watched him work hard my whole life. He's provided us with a wonderful life. Like, I can't complain about anything. You know what I mean? I may not have.
Let me ask you this question. Sorry, I apologize. I'm trying to get the theme of this being the Yoda quote show. I'm trying to get this down. One of the things that Yoda said was, "You must unlearn what you have learned." So I want to talk about that as it relates to you growing up. Were you in Philadelphia when you were growing up?
So, like, I've been born and raised Philadelphia my whole life. I wasn't in the best part in the beginning.
All right. So talk about what you think that the neighborhood that you grew up in, what does it teach most youth in your neighborhood that you had to say, I'm not going in this direction, or maybe it was, I am going in this direction. So tell me a little bit about the youth in your neighborhood. What were your friends like?
So for me, I would say I didn't start getting to really live as a kid until like after 5, because, when I initially met you, I was telling you about my mother's situation. So, when I was born, I didn't have a traditional birth. You know what I mean? It was like, I don't know the circumstances, so I'll just put it this way. I guess my mom and my dad, they were going through things at the time. I don't know. So, my mom, I guess, spitefulness, you know what I mean? She said, I'm going to have you, and I'm going to go. You know what I mean? Your dad could figure it out. And that's what happened. So, I got left. I got left in the hospital. And my dad got a phone call maybe a couple months after that. Or now I won't say months, but it was a couple days after that. And it was like, look, you got a son. So at the time, like my dad don't got his paperwork yet. Everything is not solidified to be over here. And he's going to school and he's a cab driver. So, I think it was like 21. He got the call, like, you got a son.
Mm.
Now, he didn't get the phone call when I was born. So it was some time after. So, all I could remember is my dad was like fighting for me with the state of Philadelphia. And then imagine having to pay child support for a kid you don't even have yet.
Right.
Because you don't have your paperwork filed properly. So I would just say, like, those 2 years, I think from 0 to like 2, it was blurry. But I do remember, like, I was in like Southwest Philadelphia at the time. And at the time, I say in the 90s, like, I won't say Philly was bad, but like, if you lived in those areas, that wasn't like somewhere you wanted to be. And I remember, like, I couldn't even go outside. Like, my foster mom, she wasn't having it. Like, you ain't going outside. You gonna stay in here. So I had it was cool, 2 years old though. So mom and dad came and got me. You know what I mean? That's when they came and got me. And I would say from living in that neighborhood where I was living, not being able to go outside, and at the time, I didn't know how bad it was. I was just a kid. So I'm not seeing how bad the environment is. I'm just seeing, like, okay, when it's time to go outside, we're going outside, but I'm having fun. But there were things happening around me that I did notice when I moved with, like, my mom and dad. When they did my brother's mother, my dad met her. So at 2 years old, that's the only mom I know. So that's my mom. So she really talked to my dad, was like, look, you got to go get your son. We can't keep, you know what I mean? He don't need to be in a bad environment. So I will say thank you to my father on this podcast. His name is Nathan E Azonobi Jr, man. And if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be on this podcast right now, because where I was at, it literally was, if I grew up down there, I would have ended up being on the street, or I would have been in jail, or it would have been worse, because there was no other way around that. Like, it was that bad. So once I got around, and I gotta thank, my mother, man, Lori Azonobi, because she was the one that talked to my dad, like, hey, time to come on, go get your son. When they came and got me, though, I'm telling you, it was like a culture shock as a kid, because I'm like, I'm going outside, I don't hear too much noise no more. It's nice, it's pleasant, it's quiet, it's clean. I can actually go to the park and play, and I don't gotta worry about it. So I'm like, at first, I'm not used to this, you know what I mean? And then it's like, but they raised me in a good environment. And I really feel like being on both sides, children who don't get that opportunity to see the suburban areas or the nicer areas in the city, it does harm your growth, because you're growing up in an environment where you got to be rambunctious. It's like a survival mode, as they say. So you're always on survival mode. And I'll say, even today, from living in the suburban area, because that's where I live at now, and then if I ever have to like travel to an area where it's like, all right, man, it's time. I don't like where my guard, it just automatically goes up. Like, it's like the hairs on your back. It's like when you get in an environment you shouldn't be at, them hairs on your back go up, your antennas going on you. But when I get back to where I'm comfortable at, but I don't have to be like that. And I don't think that's a good way to live neither. You're always on the, okay, I'm ready for whatever happens. You know what I mean? We shouldn't have to live like that. You know what I mean? And like I said, I think money has something to do with it as well. Everybody can't afford, especially now, you know what I mean, with prices going up and things like that. Everybody can't afford to live in, I guess, the suburban areas right now.
One of the things that you had mentioned to me when we had this initial call, Nathan, was talking about going into the entrepreneurial world. It's let me come back to Yoda for a second. Do or do not. There is no try. And basically everything that you wanted to accomplish in your life from a business perspective so far, you just leaned into it and you said, I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to stick to whatever cultural stereotypes there may be. I'm not going to stick to traditional business methods. I'm going to do what I think is right. So do or do not. There is no try. So maybe can you share just a little bit about your journey into the? I'd love to talk to my listening audience about the things that you're doing now as a business owner. So you went from this workship program that you had, this thing that you left high school with a couple of hours early every day to do it. You got a job that kind of set the tone for you, like, hey, I like business, I'm going to do my own thing. So talk about your entrepreneurial journey.
So entrepreneurship, man, what a conversation. So I started, I'll say, again, 2019. I was working this would be like the last job I ever worked. So I was working at a company called Peloton Interactive. They had this is way before they blew up and all that. They were just starting. And it's a beautiful thing because I learned a lot about business, especially with a startup company, and learning about the private and the public side of business. So like in the beginning, when I get in there, the powers that be ain't invest yet. So he's going up, he's making a lot of money in this pandemic time. So you got to imagine the gyms are closed. Everything is closed. You got to work. You got to basically live in your home. So everybody's working out from home. It sounds great at the time. And it was doing well. We're going to houses. I met Carson Wentz on the job. And it was funny because I really believe this was the best job I ever had. It was a blessing because before I decided to start this business, I'm meeting individuals that I'm talking Fortune 500 companies they owning. They're self-employed business owners. I'm going in these homes because I got to set up the bikes and the cycles and the treadmills. And it was one guy I met, man. This dude literally had like a LA Fitness size gym inside his house. And I'm like, I'm just seeing stuff I never seen before. And it's like, I don't want to ask too much, but I know the right question is like, man, what did you do? How'd you get here? How were you able to make this amount of money and live the way? And they would just say, well, first thing was credit. It was the first thing they told me. And the second thing is, whatever you want, you got to work hard, and you're going to have to. It's going to come a time where business may feel like it's just everything is hitting you at once. That's when you're about to bust. That's when you're about to go over, and you got to stay strong because that's the test right there. That's when the universe is really testing. And everybody said the same thing. So I'm like, okay. So I meet Carson Wentz, wonderful guy, family man, cool as hell. He tipped me like $200 for the job I did. And it wasn't even about the money. It was just the experience. Like I met a multi-millionaire, man.
Right,
real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, this is where they say you got to start getting around what you want to be. You got to start conversating with the individuals so you can be with. So I'm like, all right, cool. So this job is pretty sweet. I'm making tips. I'm doing my thing. I'm meeting individuals. I'm learning. And then that's when I started seeing it started getting closer to we coming out this pandemic time.
Mm-hmm.
So mind you, I'm getting hours crazy. Everything is good. But I'm also understanding startup business don't stay a startup business forever. Once you start getting traction, this is where the investors start coming in. And at this point, you don't really own the business anymore because it's their money keeping the business to go to basically scale your business.
Right.
So now I'm starting to understand. I'm like, wow, hold on. So you mean to tell me you can make a business and it do so well that other people could take over your business? Now you get a percentage. Now you're just getting a percentage. And it's like, this is what they mean by, I don't want the whole watermelon. You could just cut me a slice. And then you start studying the Warren Buffetts, then the Roosevelts, and then the Carnegies, and then the Rockefellers. And then it's like, whoa, okay. So now it's time to start really studying the greats, man, and getting serious with this. So I'm working a job and then I'm starting a credit business. And while I'm at the job, I'm on everybody. Yo, bro, you got to get your credit right. Bro, it would be imperative to do. Man, I got cash. Mind you, we're making a lot of money at this job. So it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Get people to get on that mindset of, hold on, let me fix my credit. I got money. $10,000 in hand in cash and then $10,000 in credit. It ain't the same. You know what I mean? To me, but to me, I know the difference now. So it kind of is the same. It's just somebody else's money. You know what I mean? But when you're dealing with people that, again, we go back to environment, where they grew up at. All they know is cash and hustle and bustle. So I'm like, I'm starting to get frustrated with myself because I'm like, yo, bro, I'm showing facts, I'm showing proof, and I really want people to win. And this is where you gotta. Dick Gregory once said that we all get blessed with the glasses, and that's the shitty part about being chosen or selected. You don't get to say what you want to see or what you. It's the God giving you the vision. This is when God is talking to you.
Right.
And you can't keep trying to take your glasses off and put them on other people. That's like you trying to force your blessings and what you're getting on somebody else, and they don't want to. Like somebody that don't want to go to the gym.
100%.
You going to the gym and they seeing your results, but they don't want to put the work in. They just want the results.
Right.
So if you don't put the work in, you can't get where I'm at. And that's when I realized, like, okay, take a step back. Stop trying to force it on people. Even my family. This is when it really hit me, and I'm like. So I'm talking to my mom and dad, and I'm learning about like the credit, and I'm learning about business, and I'm learning about LLC structure, and then I'm learning about the corporation we live in, and then I'm learning about consumer law, and then I'm learning about all this stuff, and I'm like, whoa. So everything I was taught is wrong. You don't have to work forever. A job is to steal your dream because you're so focused on somebody else's legacy, you have no time to focus on yours.
Wow.
That's why you work so darn much. You
That's
get
powerful.
more hours. You think you're going to make more money. It's actually less. You're going to make less money. You're tired. And there's a guy that I met, and he always says, you go to work to do the 9 to 5, and you come home to do the 6 to 12. The 6 to 12 is going to get you to the 24 hours. The 24 hours is going to get you to your freedom. So you can't go to the 9 to 5 working for the master and you have no energy to work for yourself? Nah.
Yoda's quote on that is, your path you must decide.
Yeah. So I started coming home, and I'm like, I promised myself, like I said, no matter how tired I am, I don't care, man. I got to do this. So I'm starting to like, I'm going to work tired, and I'm like, I'm watching YouTube all day, and I'm studying credit, and I'm fixing my credit, and I'm like to my mom and dad and my brother, I'm like, yo, come on, bro. Like, we could do this. And one thing about family, I won't say they don't support you. I will just say they got to see it to believe it. And then they'll come around.
They want to protect you. I think that the biggest challenge that our family provides us generally is that they want to protect us. They think that they know better collectively than you do. And I think that you said it so well about the glasses, and it's such a great understanding. Once you understand that you got these glasses on, you have this vision, nice guy community. Listen to what Nathan is saying, because this is the reality of it. You can't force someone to believe what you believe. You've got these glasses on. As an entrepreneur, you're focused so far down the road, down the future. The people that are closest to you, they don't have those same glasses sometimes. Some of them do, but most of them don't. They'll try to protect you. They don't want you to leave them. So they're going to do everything that they can to hold you in a position, not because they wanted to hurt you, but because they think they are protecting you. And I love also what you said about the $10,000 in credit and $10,000 in cash. You know, some people think that cash is king. Cash isn't king. Cash flow is king. And sometimes cash flow requires you to use that credit that you have. And look, as long as you use it responsibly and keep your credit score at a good spot, then I think that you use it wisely. Then I think that you could actually grow from using the credit that is to your that's to your disposal.
For sure, no, most definitely. Credit is definitely a tool, just like money is. And I tell people, we get taught the money system your whole life. So you just gotta, like you said, you gotta start unlearning. And you got to start relearning. And one thing I will say on this journey, man, I really didn't start reading until entrepreneurship. And when I say I didn't start reading, I mean like really not just reading to say I read something, like really understanding what I'm reading, really comprehending and actually implementing what I'm reading. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell everybody this, man. Please, start reading more, like 30 minutes a day. I challenge you, 30 minutes a day. Anything, self-development books, law, especially law book, anything. Just start reading, because it is true what they say. You want to know something, everything is in the book. Like everything, man. And even like, I'm going to say this, not to get religious, but just for spiritual guidelines, whatever your religious beliefs are, whatever you believe in, whatever religious book they provide for your religious culture, I would advise that you definitely read that as well, because, not like I said, not to bring religion into this, but when you read Proverbs and say a man falls 7 times, a man must get back up. So if the word is telling you you're gonna fall, trust and believe. It ain't gonna work out all the time, but you gotta get up. Then that means that everything you trying to do, like even right now, I'm on a podcast. So that means the work that you're putting in is being seen. You gotta keep going. That's your answer. You ask God, wait, where's my answer at? Hello? This is the opportunity. You get on the podcast, you talk your talk, you be the best you can be. And again, this is how you know, okay, everything I'm working for is working. I just got to stay on track. I got to stay consistent. Even on the days I don't want to do this. It's days I don't want to go live. It's days I don't want to get on the internet. It's days I don't, but I got a business. And when you playing this, we're in a digital era now, and things are a little different. Social media is the name of the game. And so you got to learn how to use that as a tool. You got to, again, becoming an old soul is not keeping up with the times. And one thing I've learned too is that, like, being smart, it's not a bad thing, but it is not like, I see why like everybody sleeps on a smart guy until they do something really crazy. And then it's like, oh, what? Hey man, I believe, nah, I remember when I told y'all I was going, you know what I mean? And it's crazy because it's like being smarter and being better. It seems like it's like I want to say in the sense of like Superman, it's like kryptonite. Like people don't like that, man. It's like people want you to stay small-minded and things like that. And I hate to say it, but it's like reading it. It's hard to go back to that low-level mindset. It really is for me. And because what they say, once you know better, you do better. So if I'm reading something that's telling me I need to do this way, and I still revert back to my old ways to do it the way I want to do it, that's why a lot of us don't receive the blessings. Because it's like, okay, I got to cut certain things off. On this journey, I'm going to tell you, this is the loneliest journey I have ever been on in my life. When I tell you, friends that I never thought would like go away, I'm losing friends left and right. Women like that I'm thinking like supposed to be here for the ride, gone. Like,
why do you think that is? Why do you think that? I'm really curious. Why do you think that is?
I think that when a person starts being aware of themselves, or when an individual starts learning more about themselves, like I said, I got the wake up call when I decided I wanted a credit business, but I started reading laws. And the laws was my wake up call for me, because there was discipline in them laws. And then I go look at the Bible. It's the same thing. Like, they talk about credit in the Bible. They talk about money. They talk about finances. They talk about health and wealth. They talk about taking care of your family. A man leaves his family's kids, you know what I'm saying? And so you start thinking about this, and I'm 30. So I'm like, I'm getting older. I'm maturing. Things I never thought about before, I'm thinking about. And it's crazy because I'm looking at myself in the mirror. I'm like, yo, who are you, bro? Like, we wasn't thinking like this a couple months ago, and then this is where my change happened. It's like, okay, who's ever around me, I don't need them to be exactly like me, but I need you to be on somewhat of the plan of, oh, let's go, bro. We ain't got no money. I'm trying to make some money. I want to change lives, especially my parents, like, especially with my situation. Like, a lot of times I feel like parents would have gave up in my situation. You know what I mean? And like, my dad really fought for me. You know what I mean? And my mom, which is my baby brother's mother, she's my mom as well, but we not blood. So it's like, to me, for you to take on somebody else's child and actually raise them, like, she stayed the whole time. She never gave up on me. Even when, like, I felt like sometimes her and my dad would argue because of some of the dumb stuff I would do as a kid, and I would cause some friction. So it's like, for somebody to stick around and say, I'm going to be a staple in your life, and you don't have this figure, that mean a lot to me. And that's why I'm really doing all this. And I, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I may not be able to pay y'all back in the money and the way y'all paid for things to do this, but like, I can give y'all something that's going to last longer than me and y'all being here. You know what I'm saying? And, making sure your parents is, it's a beautiful feeling when you can pay your parents' mortgage off, or you could treat them to nice, things. And, you really get to see in their eyes like, damn, this is what they worked hard for. They really, worked hard their whole life. And now you could take care of them, or you could put your family in position to start doing things. And putting somebody in position don't always mean I got to give you money. It's just like you in the right place at the right time. And I got this opportunity. Like, for instance, this year, God willing, I could find a laundromat and we're going to make this happen. And this is how I'm going to retire my parents, because for years, they always told me, like, I don't know why, but we used to go to wash clothes at nighttime. It used to be me, my mom, and my dad. And when we would go, we would be joking, laughing, and I will always hear them say, like, yo, a laundromat. So fast forward, we talking about good credit, and you don't need to have cash to buy real estate. You know what I'm saying? Then you learning about big companies. Like, why is there so many McDonald's? It's not a lot of McDonald's for burgers. It's a lot of McDonald's for real estate. Then you start learning these companies not in business to sell you food. They're in business for the real estate. So now, okay, you open one. That do good. You start learning about equity and things like that. If I let this build, if I do it right, if I take care of my customers, I'm going to make enough money and build equity in this business where I could take from the equity or open another one. Now we can either franchise, or like Wawa did. Wawa never franchised. So I see, okay, he's keeping it all in the family. He just keep building. All right, now I'm starting to understand business. All right, mom and dad, y'all don't believe me? Sit on the side. I'm going to go get this together, and I'm going to come back, and this is how we're going to do it. And I tell them this all the time, and I'm like, this year, it got to happen. Like, I got to get out here more. Like, I'm really shy in real life. I know it may not seem it on a podcast.
No, not at all.
But, like, this has been, like, this is another challenge for me, like, being able to learn how to talk to people. Because one thing I will say is, as a child, I was very rambunctious, man. I got in a lot of trouble, so I was on punishment a lot. So, like, and then I got a Nigerian father, so it's like, you do wrong, ain't no outside no more, no friends, no nothing. And that's where I got my discipline from. But it also, I feel like, not being a people person like that, it kind of messes you up. And so I would tell people, like, I challenge myself every day. When I'm outside, I'm handing out business cards. I'm forcing myself to talk to people. Because once I get on stage, like things like this helps you. Going live on Instagram, you got 20 people in the live that helps you, because when you get out in real public, you on the stage now.
Right.
And that's really my goal, to do more of these podcasts, get on more stages, to get my mission statement out here and just like let people know, like, credit just a tool to get you going. Whatever you want in life, you can have it. Just fix your credit and then start taking the steps to, invest in yourself. And that's really all it is. But you can't be afraid to unlearn and relearn. And I know in school, I got told, don't ever get a credit card. And this was by my drama teacher. Like, I don't know, we were just talking about credit in class when they was in the class. And God rest her soul, because she did pass away. She was a wonderful teacher. And I asked her, like, do you have a credit card? And she was like, no, baby, I don't got a credit card. You shouldn't get one either, man. Just save your money and work hard. And I was like,
I think that most people look at credit cards, unfortunately, and they say, hey, somebody's going to give me money. And they forget that, hey, you still have to pay that money back. And oftentimes it's at that 25 to 35% interest rate. And that's where the credit issues are with many people. Doesn't matter what your background is. It's the same trouble, no matter, black, white, Muslim, Jewish, or Christian, doesn't really matter. People get in challenged positions when it comes to credit. And maybe that's what her experience was when she was either growing up or as an adult.
And I think that's what it is too. And at that time, when I was in high school, credit repair wasn't really something that was like, I mean, if you did it, it was like was kept on the hush. It wasn't something that was a big deal. So I can definitely understand, because my mom and dad, I remember my dad, hey son, keep your finances together. I don't care what you do. Keep the finances together, keep that credit good. And he was right, because he was like, I fixed your mother's credit about twice now. She always messing it up, but I'll fix it again. So one thing I know is that through my life, my dad did use credit. He would always get on me about making sure life insurance was something that I'm investing in. So I would say, man, I would say that my development, having my mom there, with her, it was more so she was teaching me, I guess, living practices, and enjoy life and everything ain't about work, and you know what I mean? Take time to yourself and be a gentleman to women, and, just treat people how you want to be treated. Also, she always taught me about my tone. My dad, he's cool, but when he get upset, he like to get loud a little bit. So he would always say, like, as a man, do never let nobody take you out your character. Because once somebody learn how to take you out your character, they got you. So you always keep that tone intact. You know what I mean? And if you can control your tone as a man, you got it. You good. So, I would say from a mother's perspective, she gave me all the motherly love I needed to be ready for the world. My dad was very disciplinary. If you messed up, he gonna hold you accountable. But one thing I love about my dad is when you do something wrong, he would always ask you after. He's like, why you do this? I would get a little spank here and there, or a little punishment or something taken away, but I like that, and I think that helped me too, because, a lot of times when you get in trouble with your parents, it's like a punishment or they take stuff away. But the communication and the conversation after as to why you did those actions, what was the reason, and have you learned from those things? And those are the conversations we would always have. So, my dad was more so go get the money, the provider, the disciplinary, he would work a lot. So like when I would play a lot of sports as a kid and things like that, and he would show up to the big games. I'll say he would show up to the big games. But if it was like a regular game or something, you working. But if it was a big game, he will pop up for me. You know what I mean? So I'll say, man, just in development of children, man, it does take both parents being there. And just I would tell people, like, if you have kids right now, today's era, it is very intuitive to outside of the schools that you're sending your children to, just make sure they're coming home and you are teaching them about finances. I think we need to do a lot of more home educating as well, because when you talk to people, especially when I'm doing like consultations with individuals, like, for instance, I had a consultation day before Christmas. I'm on the phone with this guy. He was referred. He's 29 years old. He still lives with his mother, which to me, that's shoot. If I'm living at home, I'm stacking. So if you still living at home and you over 25, man, you're lucky, and definitely take advantage of that. Don't abuse the situation. Your mother or your father is letting you stay at home. No, if they're telling you about credit, listen to them. If they're telling you get life insurance, please listen to them, because they're only telling you things that's going to help you.
Yeah.
I know you may not want to hear those things, and it's like, man, I'm trying to live, but make sure you got some life insurance, you got good credit, your finances in order. You know what I mean? Because they're not lying to you. It's bad out here. You know what I mean? And like I said, with the gentleman, he's 29, but you can tell his mother has spoiled the crap out of him. And it's nothing wrong with your parents taking care of you and looking out, but there does need to be that side of you being able to go out and fish for yourself if need be, because mom and dad ain't going to be here forever. We all got an expiration date. So, your parents, they just teach that you can't blame your parents neither for not being able to give you everything. And that's one thing. Another thing I want to say, don't fault your mom and dad, because they only going to teach you from a standpoint of the best that they know, the best that they was taught. So whatever you lack, once you get to a certain age, you got to take accountability for that. Because my parents didn't teach me about credit. I learned this on my own. My dad would just tell me, keep it intact, make sure you take care of it. So the things that the advanced things that I'm talking about now, I had to go out on my own with the information I already had and just seek and find. And like I said,
what are you most proud of when it comes to that, Nathan? I'm really curious. What accomplishments? Not anybody speaking about you, but you speaking about you. What are you most proud of?
I will say, man. So again, working a job since 16, and then jumping in this race. This ain't for the weak. I'm gonna say that, y'all. And it really builds character. And I'm very proud of myself that when a lot of people started quitting, I stayed the course. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I've only been an entrepreneur since 2019. I ain't been in the game that long. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. But they say, I think Ice Cube said it's like the first 1 to 5 years. At some point in that time, you're gonna hit a wall. Mm-hmm. And that wall you hit, it's like, man, you think you are never going to come out of something. Like, you just, at one point, like, I don't know if everybody goes through this, but
everybody goes through it.
Entrepreneurship, it just seems like there's a version of time where you're just, bro, this is going wrong. This is going wrong. Jesus Christ, the bill piling up. Like, everything just, money starts flowing up or this, that. So, in that time, I would say the difference between that and having an employment opportunity of a job is that if the job go wrong, I'm still getting paid because I ain't got nothing to do with that. Mm-hmm. If I come in and I do a bad job and nobody notices, I still get paid. Entrepreneurship, though, you have to be very calculated in every move you make. You have to be aware of everything that's going on. Yes, you have a team, but you should still know everything that's going on. You should not. And I learned that from Oprah Winfrey. My mom used to binge watch Oprah all day. This back in the day when she had the VH1 VCR. I get home from school 4 PM. My mom's working at Fleet Credit Card Bank at the time. They got turned into Commerce Bank at one time. But she was working at the bank. Son, when you get home from school, make sure you record my Oprah. So I will record her Oprah. And one thing Oprah always said, I remember this, it was like, I never let nobody sign my checks. I look over everything from bank statements to text. So that always stuck with me. No matter what I do, who I hire, whatever, you always got to be the one to look at everything. Because if you sending stuff out here and it's wrong, that's on you. You're liable. So, like I was saying, entrepreneurship, man, it's a different ball game. And it's a beautiful experience because, yes, you're taking losses, but you're learning as you're going. Like, I really learned how to run a business. I learned about hiring employees. I've had to fire 2 before. That ain't the best feeling either. Like,
no, it's not good.
Because, like, I'm going to say, like, I had to actually call one of my friends, like, yo, did you ever have to fire somebody in the business yet? He's like, yeah, bro. And I'm like, yeah, today's the day, bro. And I don't feel so good about it. He's like, bro, but you got to understand. I understand you got a good heart and you're trying to give people opportunity, but look at it as when you worked. That job is benefiting off the people that they hire to keep it going. You can't do the job. You're costing money.
Right.
And yeah, they might give you a chance, might give you another chance, maybe even a third. After that, you done showed them you're not the right selection. They're going to let you go. So you got to think of like that in your business. It's not about being rude. It's not about being nasty. Straightforward, upfront, and let people know. Because if you let it keep going, that's going to eventually harm your business. So, I had my first fire, and it didn't feel good at all. And they didn't take it well at all. But I had to get it done. And it's funny, because as soon as I did that, the people I needed, I found them. And one thing I'm going to say about this? To anybody who's watching this podcast, I need you to keep going, whatever you're doing. Mm-hmm. Because before this podcast, whatever it was on my page, it attracted them to me. You know what I'm saying? So if you feel like nobody's watching, you're not getting attraction, like, people are watching. People can see. Just keep going. You just haven't reached the person that says, all right, I want to hear what she got to say yet. That's all. Keep going. People are watching. And for the longest time, I was beating myself up about that because I'm like, yo, I remember people were going viral on social media. I'm like, yo, I'm giving out amazing information. Why is my stuff not going? Again, comparison is the thief of all joy. Focus on yourself.
Yep.
You got your own lane. You got your own great things that you're good at. Just bring that to the world. You might feel like the world is hating on you, or the world is not. They're waiting on you. They're waiting on you to present what it is. We all got powers and we all have a purpose. The world is waiting for you to give your power. The world is waiting for you to walk in your purpose. The world is waiting for you to, like, hello. So, and this is why I said I'm so thankful for that mindset switch, because when I was working a 9 to 5, I really thought that was the only way to get money, because I didn't, like I said, like, I'm not nothing against nobody that, do extracurricular activities to get their money, but that's not me. I don't want to go to jail for nothing. I never wanted to scam nobody. Because my last name means a lot to me. We're not working for our first name. We're working for our last name. And most of these businesses and corporations, Walmart, somebody's last name, Target, somebody's last name. You know what I'm saying? So when you think about that, these are pristine names, man. And we also do see what happens when you have a pristine name and it takes some damaging impact. So I don't want that for myself or my family. And that's another thing you got to think about too. Like, it's not just you representing no more. You got a whole bunch of people behind you with the same name that you representing. So you got to watch how you move, what you say, how you treat people going up that ladder. When you're going up the ladder, you got to remember, be conscious of how you treating people going up when you catching your wins, because you got to come back that same ladder. You got to come right back down. And the come down might not be as nice as the go up.
Nice guy community. This is an episode that is filled with amazing quotes, and I'm looking forward to years of being able to quote Nathan. After he is long famous, continue to be famous. I'm going to say I
and
had
trust
him
to
on the nice
believe.
guys.
One thing about me, man, and I really mean this. You never forget people that give you opportunity. You know what I mean? With credit for me, the reason why I know what I know is the brother his name is Zuma, and I met him on my credit journey. And this is, again, another thing, like, to your question, like, I started reading. That's an accolade for me, because the way I'm reading now, it's like, yo, this was not something I enjoyed. Like, this was corny to me. And, we got in a Zoom call one day. I had booked a consultation with him, and I'm like, bro, I want to learn. Like, I know credit, but in the credit repair industry, there are laws and regulations to protect us. And that was how you get success in these disputes. So I'm like, I don't know the laws. I don't really know how to, you know what I mean? So he just sat me down in a consultation call one day. He's like, listen, you're not leaving this Zoom call until you can tell me what each one of these laws mean without looking in that book, without stuttering, without hesitating. And if you can't do it, you're not leaving the Zoom call.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I'm not yet this Nathan yet. So I'm like, man, who you talking to? But then I'm thinking, anybody who care about you, they're going to challenge you. If they see potential, they're going to challenge you. So I'm like, all right. So, he come back in after like 30 minutes, and I'm like asking me stuff. And I'm like, all right, this is what this is. He's like, you ready? Go ahead. He's like, and this is like 25 minutes, and he's like, you ready? Go ahead. Start. Come on. So, I start helping people with their credit. And, I'm starting to send dispute letters out for people, and stuff is actually working. And then when you get those messages, like, people in the voicemail and they crying. And then you got people like, yeah, I just got approved for the condo, man. I just got the new car, bro. I just was able to get approved for this loan. Or it just do something to you, because before me, you couldn't get this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You wasn't getting access to $50,000 in funding. You wasn't getting, access to credit cards or auto loans and things like that. And I will say this, we was in a different time in 2019. APR rates was like 2 to 3%. The industry was, was looking pretty good. And it's a different time now. I will say from 2019 to 2023.
Changes have happened. Have they not changed?
They trying to go digital with everything. To me, I just feel like people, they got to wake up and you got to understand what we in, like from a deep point. And I'm not going to stay on this topic too long, but like I said before, like when I'm on my social media, I always say we live in a corporation, not a country. And the reason I say that, because when you start reading more and more, like you start understanding why foreign people come here and they create businesses. And you wonder why, like I never, you see the Mexicans, they stay with the Mexicans. The Latinos, they stay with the Latinos when they doing business. The Asians, they stay with the Asians when they doing business. The Indians, the Arabs, they stay with their culture. So you start understanding like, okay, they work so hard and they sending the money back home though. Okay, so then they're living back home, but their business is here. Okay, so it's like, I want people that live in America to stop thinking that like people that come over here, maybe it is true that they do get paid and they get a check to come over. Yeah, I mean, but you got to also, it's deeper than just them coming over here. For brown melanated people, you got to understand what you registering yourself as. You have to understand that you have a straw man. There's a digital you. There's a physical you. The digital you is created for you at birth. And mother and father, they don't know who they are, but they just sign you off to the corporation. That birth certificate, that's money. That license plate on that car, that's all that stuff is connected to your social. So on a deeper scale, when we talking about credit, nobody can provide you credit but you. You credit yourself every day. You just don't know who you are. Your social is connected to the federal treasury. So if your social is connected to the federal treasury, where's all the money? Federal treasury. So again, when we talking about credit, a bank can't give you credit without you giving something.
Mm-hmm.
A dealership can't give you a car without you giving something. Mortgages, so when you think about that, then you realize everything is paid for. Everything is paid for already. We're paying for things twice. And I know it sounds crazy, but you got to really think and look at the things we sign. A promissory note, all you need is your signature. They got access to your securities. That's the power right there, is your signature. And we just sign things off. We don't think about that. Think about it. How you got a car note, you paying a car note, but your payment's in positive. And if I owe money for anything, it should be in a negative notation. So my auto loan is in a positive payment. Your utility bills come in a positive payment if you got paper billing. But think about this. The corporations will tell you, go paperless. We want to save the environment. Yet they will charge you a late fee on your credit profile. Now, legally, if I don't know when something is, and they never said look in the app on the phone either. You're supposed to receive mail. So if the company is telling me to go paperless, what are you trying to hide? Why would you tell me to go paperless? Because at that point, I can't see or know when I'm supposed to pay something on time. The law don't say look in a phone app, open your app. It doesn't say that. It says we supposed to receive mail 21 days prior to whatever's due. We're not supposed to pay bills. We're supposed to discharge debt. And when you say that, people say, oh, you broke. You don't want to pay no. I mean, just think about it, though. The debt dealers, if paying bills don't help nobody because the debt ceiling is through the roof. So when you also understand that, we're one of the only corporations that can print our money whenever we want, right? So think about this. Everybody is working to pay the Rockefellers back. Okay? The Rockefellers, the Carnegies, the Roosevelt, the Vanderbilts, these people, what they call the forefathers. These are the people that had so much money that they were able to design and industrialize America. So who do you think America is owing to? They're in debt with who? These people. So what do you think we all go to work for and pay bills for? To pay the debt back, but you're never going to pay this debt back. America has a real money printer that they can print this money. The debt could be paid tomorrow if they wanted to. If you pay off the debt, you have no work for nobody. There's no need to go to work because all bills will be paid, right? You can't slave nobody no more. And of course, they're not about to do that.
Nathan,
so this is what I mean.
When is this book coming out that you're going to write? Because man, you
what's funny, man? Hopefully, with building my relationships with you guys and other people, I could definitely start getting in rooms again. Because I honestly, man, somebody told me that the other day, and they were like, "Bro, you got to write a book, bro. You got to write a book, bro, and it's going to sell, bro. Like everything, you just got to." I'm telling y'all right now, man. 24 is going to be a big year, and it's about connections and relationships. Money's going to come. But learning about business, I'm going to say that relationships is the most important thing in the world because a person like me, I feel like I should be way higher than I am. But one thing that it has to do with is I need to move out of Philadelphia altogether because this is where I'm comfortable. And it is time to go somewhere else and start, spreading my seeds around. I don't mean having children. I mean in business. I mean, like, people need to know who I am. You got to get around other rooms. And, that feeling of getting on flights and flying to a different state, different country, it's a beautiful experience. And I started that last year and I said, I'm going to do way more of that this year. And this is going to be, this is the start of the Yoda's journey, man, and Recoup Enterprises and any other businesses that I want to do. And, it is scary because you don't know how people are going to receive you. And I always used to think about that. And I'm learning in business that, you know what? We got one life, man. And this is all you have, and when it's over, it's over. Denzel Washington said something in an acceptance speech. And this is like one of the biggest sayings I keep with me every single day. He said, in life, like I said, we all visionaries and we all got power and we all got purpose. It's up to you to find your power and your purpose. Nobody was born with more than, and nobody was born than less than. So you don't want to go to the deathbed and the souls of your goals and your dreams come to the deathbed with you and they say, hey, what happened? You prayed for us. Remember when you cried and you said you wanted better? And so God sent you the vision, them dreams, those daydreams, those nights you can't sleep and you just constantly thinking about this. You wake up thinking about it. You go to work, school, wherever you are, you always talking about it. That's what you're supposed to be doing. That's what you asked for. And a lot of us are not aware of ourselves. And what I mean, you haven't taken. That's why, honestly, when you asked me about relationship in the beginning, that's why I've been out of relationships so long, because sometimes in relationships, we want to please the opposite sex so bad, or our lover or whatever, that you lose yourself in that sometimes. And you forget who you are and the things that make you happy. And, because you're trying to cater to somebody else's happiness. And it may not necessarily be your happiness, but you love this person. So you're willing to sacrifice for yourself so to make them happy. And sometimes that's not always conducive to your being. You know what I mean? So for me, I promised myself, I said, when I came out of a relationship, I got to go harder than I ever went in life. And I got to take time to heal, and a lot of people are not able to identify that with themselves. You know what I mean? Because it was just things I was doing. I was reacting. I was, ways I was talking. It just wasn't right. You know what I mean? And, you can't love people more than you love yourself. So during this time of going through entrepreneurship and going through a job and learning who I am and what I like, what I don't like, and just educate myself more, I found peace in going to the gym a lot and reading more and actually not getting intimidated anymore by being around people that are smarter than me, that can teach me more, that, because that's the only way I'm going to grow. I never chilled with people my age. I always chilled with older people because, I think my mom used to say, you need to stay in a child's place. But it's kind of a gift and a curse because I just always wanted to learn. And I can only learn from somebody who has experienced more than me. I'm not saying I can't learn, because you could learn from a 1-year-old or you
Yeah,
can learn
but
from a 100-year-old.
you never want to be the smartest person in the room. The
Exactly.
challenge is that when you're the smartest person in the room, you can learn nothing from the people that are in the room. I'd rather walk into the room having everybody be smarter than me so I can learn. And as long as you don't approach it like, man, I am stupid, I don't know anything, and these people are better than me. I look at it as learning opportunity. What a great learning opportunity to get into a room where everybody is smarter than you, makes more money than you, has been in business longer than you. I look forward to those rooms, and as long as you don't have some sort of self consciousness about it, I think you're good.
Shit, you teaching me right now, because I've been listen, bro. I really love this guy right here, man, because I'm gonna be honest. He's helping me, man, grow as an individual. So I really want to say, man, this means the world to me. And I want to say thank you, brother. And you're doing a lot more for me than I probably could ever pay you back, man, because I'm telling y'all, man, I used to have dreams like of, and I look at anything as a big win. Like, people would say, well, you didn't get on like the Breakfast Club yet, or this. I'm like, bro, the podcast is coming and I'm making my way. So I don't care how big the podcast. I'm taking any opportunity. Somebody call me and say, yo, I'm getting on there. You don't listen. You don't leave nothing. We don't leave no money on the table. Whatever we can get. It's not about being desperate, but when you starting, and a lot of mentors told me this, you're going to get offers. You're not going to get paid off the bat. It's not about getting paid. It's about getting out there. Get the exposure. Get out there.
Great.
Somebody call you. Hey, we want you to fly out. Do this. Take the flight. I don't care how much it costs. Swipe that credit card. Again, we got good credit. So this is what investing in yourself is. You know what I'm saying? And you, like you said, you got to just know who you are and believe in yourself. And you got to know that whatever you're trying to do right now, it may not pay off today, tomorrow, in a couple weeks or months. But 6 months to a year, you're going to see some change. You're going to see some differences. And in the beginning, I was that like inconsistent. Like I would start and I'm like, yo, I ain't seeing nothing, bro. This ain't working. Maybe I should have never left a job, or maybe I shouldn't have done. You get those doubt moments, but I'm gonna say this: you really gotta sometimes sit back in the chair and say, okay, yo, damn, man, I did this already. My page, my Instagram, it did. I went 1 million on Instagram already. So all right, you're doing all these things that you prayed for, and we don't even be knowing that we doing it because we so move. I gotta get this, and But you got to really sit back sometimes and say, oh shit, I've been doing this for 4 years, almost 5 years. I ain't have no job. I ain't did this, believing in myself, going through ups and downs, crying, nights of crying, just asking God, like, bro, why you putting this all on me? I even asked him, like, why you let me start reading consumer law? You know what I mean? Because I was really upset with that in the beginning, because I'm like, bro, it was a lot. And like law in general, it don't matter what type of law you read, it's a lot. Mm-hmm. And it just taught me a lot of discipline, like, because now you're learning legalese. And in a court of law, you got to know what you're talking about in court. You can't just go in a courtroom and just be talking rubbish. So, I again, learning, like, the universe don't give you more than you can handle. Remember, you asking for these things. And this is why I'm telling people, like, I don't know about nobody else, but I just know I've always got whatever I've asked for. I just never got it when I wanted it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would look up and I would pray, or I would talk to the universe, and I'm like, yo, I'm working on this. If you could just like bring it closer to me, and I'll do the rest of the work. Just get me there. So I got this saying, God is upstairs doing the handwork, but we got to be downstairs doing the footwork. You can't ask God to do the handwork upstairs and you're not putting no footwork in. Because if you don't put the footwork in, and let's say he do present the opportunity to you, you're not ready. Or sometimes the opportunity come and you psych your own self out. So it's like always down. Okay, what more can I be doing? All right. I said this prayer. Now it's time to put action in. And like I say, I don't get what I want when I want it, but I always get what I want. It's not one thing I ain't never asked for. And I remember this The day before I started my credit business, I wrote, it's in my old iPhone, but I had the note section. And I was in the note section. I'm just writing down my goals. I said I want a 700 plus credit score. I want to be able to live in my own apartment and be able to afford to pay the rent without help, nothing. Like I was just writing down certain goals. I said I wanted to start a business, and little by little, man, I would check it every month. I'm like, damn, I did that already. Okay, all right. Then I go look at my credit. Damn, 700 credit score. All right, this shit is coming together. So I would say this too. Say this in the word. You gotta write it down. You can't do nothing and be successful if you don't write it down. Because you gotta have a plan. So you write things down and you speak them out loud. You know what I'm saying? And like even when I wake up in the rising, it's like you gotta talk highly of yourself. Don't talk down to yourself. Look in the mirror. There's nothing wrong with talking to yourself. Look in the mirror and talk to yourself. Tell yourself you handsome, you smart, you intelligent, you can do all things. There's nothing hard in life. It's just the work. You just got to put the work in. What's hard? And when you speak these things like that, like if I'm always saying, man, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard. Well, I'm telling the universe, man, this hard. So guess what the universe is going to do? It's going to send me hard.
What's interesting about it is, as you're saying these words, Nathan, I mean, my girlfriend and I have been reading this book, Think and Grow Rich.
Ooh, that's a book for you, man. Yes.
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And so many of the things that Nathan is talking about right now are deeply entrenched in this book. You say it's going to be hard. What's the expression? I can't come up with a Yoda quote for this, but I can come up with a Henry Ford quote for this. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And this is totally about the universe will give you exactly what you are praying for. And
they give you the woman you want, they give you the life you want, they give you listen, you speak even in bad times. And I know that's hard. I know it's hard when you're going through a lot of things in life and it just seems like life is just hitting you with every curveball. But that's your test. Again, we all get tested every single day. A man is tested when he got everything. A woman is tested when that man don't got nothing. So it's like, okay, you was broke, you ain't got nothing. Now, you starting to get that money now. You starting to get notoriety. That don't mean you start acting different. That don't mean you start doing things that you wouldn't do if you didn't have this money. That's the test for a man. And a lot of us sometimes get complacent, because you just got to sometimes go back to them times when you didn't have nothing and you was out of it and it was dark. And sometimes I got to do that too, because sometimes you can get ahead of yourself. You like feeling yourself a little bit. And it's like, hold on now, I got to humble myself. Because we got to remember where we came from. It's hard when you don't have no money. It's hard when your credit is bad. It's hard when you're trying to figure out the next meal. And I remember like before this entrepreneur journey, me and my father, he was very like on me, you know what I mean? And I ain't understand. And I'm like, bro, like, come on, get off my back, bro. But he just wants the great for me. He just wants the best for me, and in his own little way, that's how he loves me. You know what I mean? But we got in a bad fight, man. We got in a real argument. I came in late one night. I had to move back home with my pop for a little bit. And that's another thing. Don't be afraid to start over, y'all. I had to go back home. Had to move back with pop. And it was one of those things where I set a date because I know how my dad is. And I wasn't trying to stay there that long, but I needed structure, man. I needed to go back home. So I go back home and he lay down the rules. I already know, got to be home at a certain time. Mind you, I'm 25. But I don't have that father that's going to let you just do whatever you want in his household. He's not living. He ain't moving like that.
His house, his rules.
His house, his rules, right? You don't like it, get out. So, and you ain't got no pot to piss in right now. So a beggar can't be a chooser. You just got to take what come with whatever. So I'm like, all right. So, I first moved back in and I'm like, damn, bro. So then I'm like, it's cool. First couple months be cool. And then it was one night, chick wanted me to come outside with her. So I should have called, but I'm like, man, I'm 25, man. I just shot him a text, but like my dad's communication, he wanted to hear my voice and, make sure I was cool. And I just texted him. And to him, that was like, he didn't like that. So when I got home, and we got in this big old argument, and it was just a lot of stuff going on at home. And it's like, man, I ain't trying to be dealing with this, bro. So I got to make a decision. And this is where I figured out in life, like, if you ever watch, I forgot what movie it is, but he basically say in life, like, sometimes you got to make a decision in 5 minutes or less. And you got to be able to stand on that decision and be fine with it and walk away like nothing ever happened. I think The Goodfellas, that's the movie. Yeah, The Goodfellas. So he says that in that movie. And he says, like, in life, you got to make decisions. You're not going to have all the time in the world. And this was a situation. I was working. I got my HVAC certification. Just in case nothing works, I'll go back to doing HVAC. So I'm in my Sears van and I'm crying every single day because I don't want to do this. But I didn't know what else to do with my life at the time. And I wasn't on entrepreneurship yet. I had to move back home. My dad has his own business, but I never sat him down and asked him like, yo, Pop, how you be an entrepreneur now? It didn't interest me at that time.
Right.
So I'm just broke. I ain't got no money. Got to move back home with Pop. I'm working my Sears job doing refrigeration at the time. And it was cool. I just didn't like getting on my, sometimes you got to get on your back or your knees and stuff and fix people's stuff. And then people are dirty. You going in the houses with roaches in them. So I'm like, yo, I ain't trying to do this forever, bro. And this is the entrepreneur spirit in me just, bro, it's got to be something. What am I good at? What can I do? You know what I mean? And I'm just crying every single day. And it was so miserable because I'm like, bro, I know I got to do what I don't want to do sometimes, but I don't want to do this. So again, even with that job, I had access. I'm meeting people that's living downtown in nice condos and things. And I'm asking them, they just keep telling me credit. And even at that job, I'm telling people about credit, but it's not clicking yet. So, like I said, I had to move in with my dad. And one day we get home and the argument go down. And I packed my car up and I packed my utility van up and I just bounced. And when I tell you, I didn't even think about it. I'm just like, yo, we get in an argument today, I'm out. He was like, get out. I'm like, all right. I didn't think of nothing up, packed. I had my little totes. I ain't had much at the time. I had 3 things of clothes, but I had a utility van so I could fit all this shit in the back. So I'm like, all right, cool. I didn't go far. I went to, so my dad lives on the main street and he lives next to a shopping center. Guess where I go? And he could see me too. The one day he was like, I seen you out there. And I said, this fool right here, he ain't even go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? But it was just I had more happiness being semi-homeless than living with my father because I didn't have nobody on my back. And I really had to figure things out. I'm sleeping in the car. I got to lock my doors. Somebody tried to get in my car the one night. It didn't work, but, in this time, I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on, bro? It ain't never been this bad. And I'm not homeless because I still got a job. I still had the cars, so it was I was good. I just didn't have nowhere to lay my head. And I'm just going through this and I'm showering. I'm showering in Planet Fitness at the time. I ain't even, this is the most humblingest experience of my life. And I'm like, it ain't that bad, going to the gym, workout, then I go look at the shower. I'm like, oh no. But I got to wash up, and then I got to go to work still for Sears at the time. So I'm like, bro, forget it. We going to get up 4 a.m. every day. We going to go to the gym for an hour. I got to be to work at 6:30. Cool. Sounds about right. Get my little workout in. And I would shower. I had my dirty clothes in that utility van. I had one bag for the dirty clothes. I had my totes for the clean clothes. Had my work uniform. And I was just on. I get off at 6 every day, go to the gym. That's all I had. All I had was the gym at that time. And I was just stacking money. And I was stacking money enough so I can go get me an apartment. So the goal was like $4,000. All I needed was like $4,000 at the time. I'm like, I just need 4,000 so I could put the down payment down, whatever. I'm cool. So again, you gotta watch what you're saying to the universe. So I'm just asking. I'm asking the universe. I'm like, yo, what do I gotta do? Just give me a sign. Show me something. My sister called me. Yo, there's an apartment available. They want $1,200 down. It's only $750 a month. Get your ass over here and let's go. That's the sign. Again, remember, you keep asking. I'm gonna send you something. If you're aware, you going. So okay, I went there, and I'm not even thinking. At the time, like I only got $4,000. They want $1,200 down. I'm damn near broke after this. Oh well, I need somewhere to go. So put the $1,200 down. It's empty, but I got something. You know what I mean? So I'm good. I'm like, okay. So the first couple months, you sleeping on that hard carpet.
Understood,
nothing
man.
in the apartment, nothing in there. I'm just there, and I'm like, okay, I'm at peace, man. I'm at peace, and everything is good. Now I gotta hustle and bustle. So I'm working, stacking up the money. I'm doing what I'm doing. Go through a couple jobs during this period of time, and then I end up at Peloton. To fast forward, that's why I was at Peloton, and I wouldn't trade those experiences for the world, man. If I had to, you know what I'm saying? It really was a learning experience and a an understanding of one. As a man, you always got to keep your stuff together. As a man, you have to take action and not be so reactive to things. When things go wrong, you got to sit still and because at that point in my life, man, I'm reacting to everything. You know what I mean? I'm not knowing how to handle things. I'm like, oh, but in the heat of the moment, you be calm, you be still, and then you gather your thoughts, you bring everything together. So I will say, man, me and my dad, we talk about that time now. We be laughing about it, but it's like, he was like, my mom, I even call my mom sometimes, and I'm like, Mom, because she used to tell me in my 20s, she's like, when you get up out the house and you got to live on your own, you're going to see. You're going to see. I be calling home sometimes now. I'm like, hey, did you cook? I come get a plate. Because I'm telling you, man, you don't understand what your parents was doing and the protection they was trying to give you. And,
right.
All the hard understanding, it was to prepare you. You know what I'm saying? Like they telling you, you get older, it's not going to be hard out here, but it's not going to be easy. You see, we go to work every day. You don't see us going out then you wonder why, like mom and dad will go to work Monday through Thursday. Maybe they might go out on a Friday or a Saturday or something, but even then, like it was work Monday through Friday. The weekends is when they went out or did whatever they did. They wasn't spending money during the week. They was coming home cooking dinner, saving money. They was sacrificing. They were doing these things. Okay, that's what you got to do. You got to sacrifice on this journey a lot. When the friends is going out on the weekends, there's no going out. When the friends are partying this time, there ain't no taking a flight here. Ain't none of that. None of that. You got to really, like, everything has to get cut off. Everything has to get blocked off. I would even say this to men, young men on here. There got to come a point in your life where you get that wake-up call and it's like, okay. My mom always said, if you don't got it by your 30s, you ain't never going to get it. So, like, you got 29 years to act a fool is what she used to tell me. By 30, you should start maturing, start learning from your mistakes. Yeah. It shouldn't be too many mistakes anymore. You know what I mean? And, she ain't never lied about nothing she said. Because when I hit 30, and I'll be 31 in February. So, it's like a whole mind switch at 30. Like, I'm talking the birthday of 30 years old, my whole mind. I'm like, I woke up feeling not older, but just feeling different. Like, I feel like that call of, hey, you 30 now.
Time to get serious about life.
It's time to get serious about life, man. Had 29 years to play around and do what you want to do and all that. Now, you know what I mean? And I would just tell any man on here, young or old, like, focus on your empire and what you got going on. The woman, the friends, the money, all the extra stuff that's going to come following behind the success you create for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to say it like that for us, but we only loved off of what great of a man we become. So if you can't provide nothing, you can't teach nothing, you don't have nothing, nobody wants you. And that's the harsh realities of this life. You know what I mean? You have to get money. You have to, build legacy. You got to be something. You know what I mean? And the one that's, sacrificing while everybody's out playing is the one that's going to win in the end. Who's winning in the world? The nerds. I don't want to say it like that. Like, I'm a nerd now, to be honest. I read all day.
Hey, man. Amen.
I love it.
Nerd is the new sexy, I hear.
You know what I mean? When you got to think, look at Elon Musk and all these guys. They were getting laughed at in school. They were getting laughed at in school. You know what I mean? Nobody thought these guys would be the guys that, got the type of money they got in there and changing industries the way they're changing them. So you got to really, and it's crazy I say that because I went to school with somebody that's really doing well for themselves now. And they used to get picked on in class. And it's like, we weren't the closest, but there was times where we shared laughter and hard work and dedication in school. And it's like, I see him now and I'm like, I always told you though, bro, you was going to be the one. He was like so smart, so intelligent, it's very beyond his years at the time. And it's just some people.
Hey, hold on, Nathan, but I don't want to go too down the path of a buddy of yours because I want to come back and bring this back to a real. I want to put a fine point on this because if you haven't sensed it yet, Nathan is in the credit repair business. I mean, he has spent his entire life. Every part of his path has led him to this part of his journey, which is helping other people to overcome the obstacles in their life, and especially if credit is the obstacle that you are dealing with. I was looking at an Instagram post that Nathan had shared. I don't remember how long ago he shared it, but he said, if your credit starts with a 3, 4, or 5, or a 6, he's the guy that you want to go to. And look, he's telling you this from the perspective of he understands, he's been there. He relates to, look, he just told you earlier on.
I'll put it this way. I'm going to give you something easy. So look, anybody can do this that's listening to this podcast at any time.
Okay.
So you do not get charged yourself for looking at your own credit. You get charged when we go and do business, whether that's a mortgage, auto loan, school loans, anything that deals with the pulling of your credit is a consumer credit transaction.
All right. So is there a trick that they can go to? I mean, I know I just go to my credit card company who I have, like Wells Fargo. It says check your credit. There's no ding against my credit to check my credit score. So I just go there. Is that where they go, or they go somewhere else?
To anybody that wants to see their credit reports, you can use Experian or Equifax or TransUnion. But there is a website called my annualcreditreport.com, and you can get a free credit report of all 3 reports on your credit for free. Now, if you want to be subscription based and be able to get access to your credit whenever you want, you can also use Identity IQ. There's Smart Credit. There's Credit Strong, Credit Hero. Pretty much you want to look at a credit monitoring that's showing all 3 of your scores, that's showing you FICO. Now, I know a lot of people, they're looking at Credit Karma. And one thing I'm going to say about Credit Karma is this. Credit Karma it's Vantage. So Vantage and FICO, they're 2 different scoring models that the industry uses.
Hold on. I don't want to go too far down this path, Nathan, because you gave them some key information here. I want everybody to go to get a free copy of their credit report to myannualcreditreport.com. Get your credit report there. If you see, and now I'm assuming based upon that, they're going to run some of the different repositories or wherever it is that you check your credit.
So basically what happens is once they look at their credit, they'll be able to see a full photo of like their accounts, their personal information.
They're going to be given a number, right? They're going to be given a number based upon 1 number, 3 numbers, whatever it is. You're going to be given a number. That number is either going to be 300 something, 400 something, 500 something, 600 something, 700 something, or 800 and something.
Mm-hmm.
Credit score begins with a 3, 4, 5, or 6. Your next job is to get onto social media and connect with the Credit Yoda
Yes,
on
sir. Yes,
Instagram.
sir.
All right. When
Yes,
you
sir.
go to the Credit Yoda, you're going to see a whole bunch of different posts that Nathan has shared. I will tell you, it's over 1,500 times that he has posted. He
And we
has
still going, man. We still going.
still
If
going.
you
And
are
he's,
on social media and
yeah.
your business is on social media, post your content. Post your content. Even if you think nobody's post your content. If you
All
have
right,
a
Nate, hold
business.
on, Nathan. Hold on. I don't want to lose sight of this because this is important. Stop helping for 1 second. Let me help you because you've done
Go
such a
ahead, bro.
great job of bringing
Thank
this.
you so
I
much.
want to make sure that we are serving the guest that has served us so well for the last 60 minutes and sharing his story. You've heard his story. You know that he's legit. Just exactly what I found out when I had a 15-minute conversation with Nathan before we even decided to record this session. And we did that a month ago or 3 weeks ago. We had a conversation. Nathan was gracious enough to share his information with me, and then I got onto his Instagram page, which has over 40,000 people that follow Nathan as the Credit Yoda, and you can see based upon the information that he gives you that this is a guy that knows what he's talking about. He's reading the books. He is in the business. He's been in the business. He's successful in the business. He wants to help you get out of the threes, the fours, the fives, and the sixes so that you can get a 700, 720, which is about where you start to turn your corner, till you get an 800 plus credit score. When you get an 800 plus credit score, you're going to get the lowest possible interest rate and the highest possible amount of funding opportunities for you and your business that are possible. I don't want to serve I don't want you to serve with any more knowledge, Nathan. I want to be able to serve you now. So
I appreciate you.
tell people how they reach out to you if they're either on your Instagram page or maybe email, or what's the best way for somebody to reach
So
out to you?
three forms of reaching out. So you can reach me through email. That's recoup enterprises LLC at gmail.com. There's also, the phone number is 267-538-7660. That's my business line. It's always on. And then you have the social media platform. The business page is recoup underscore enterprises underscore LLC. We just created that. I should have did it in the beginning, but Credit Yoda took off so crazy. It was like, whatever. So then we got the Credit Yoda, and that's my page that he's speaking of now. It's just the THE credit and then Yoda. No spaces, no underscores. And then you'll find everything there. You know what I mean? And if you're interested, let's work. You know what I mean?
All right,
Consultations are free.
your first step is to just go over to myannualcreditreport.com. If any of the threes, fours, fives, or sixes, if you are blessed with those numbers, and I say that in a little bit of sarcastic sense, but if you are blessed with those numbers, your next step is to head over to Instagram, check out his Credit Yoda page so that you can see exactly where he can and go and help you. And then I'll make sure I put all the contact information for Nathan, including his phone number and his email address, directly in the show notes as well. Nathan, I'm telling you, I never do more than 30 minutes of a conversation, but
I'm blessed, man. I'm thankful for you, bro. And I really want to say thank you before we get off of here, man. I really appreciate you and the team. I think it was Ashley that first initially, and I want to say thank you to her too. If you can, man, make sure you get that to her, man. I really appreciate her. Again, your team is very on point.
Nice.
As soon as you email them, they email you right back. They ask you if you need anything. I love that that's what really, honestly, I was going to do the podcast, but then once I seen I'm like, man, they really she's on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Nathan,
okay.
we want to take care of you, man.
Yeah, and I will say, you, man, you keep doing what you're doing, man. This is beautiful. I would love to work with you more. Anything I can do to help you guys as well. Because you guys are helping me. So I'm definitely, whether I promote you on Instagram, it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? I want to say thank you. You know what I mean? I really appreciate you. And thank you for your time.
Our gift, Nathan, is for you just to keep doing what you're doing. Keep bringing your word and your message and your action to the entrepreneurial journey that you're on. Because I'll tell you, most people, they quit 3 feet from gold. And if you just keep doing what you're doing, no matter the circumstances that you're dealing with in life, if you just, you see all those boats that are behind you, you just burn those boats and you have no option other than moving forward. You've got to keep storming. I'll tell you, the best motivation is knowing that you have no retreat, and you're doing everything that you're doing. This has been an episode that has been filled with great quotes. We hope to be able to quote Nathan throughout the rest of the year, 2024,
Yes, sir.
actually moving
Yes, sir.
forward. And Nathan, man, I appreciate you and everything you're all about. And thanks for sharing your wisdom on the show today.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you so much as well.
Hey, for all of you that are in our community, again, take advantage of Nathan by heading over to his Instagram page. Go first to myannualcreditreport.com so that you have some information when you get to Nathan on the Credit Yoda. If you know that your credit is in the crapper and you need some help, now is the good opportunity for you to get it fixed legit, the right way, without breaking any rules. He knows the law, he understands it, and he's willing to help you as well. Hey, for those of you in our community, thanks again for tuning in yet another week. Thank you. I don't know exactly when this airs. I think it's sometime in January. So for those that are in our community and you're just kicking into your new year, we're hoping that you're having a great new year. Set all your goals. Make sure those goals are coming to life. Don't quit. Don't stop. Keep running forward. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For the nice guys on business, I'm Steve O'Brien. And may the force be with them. They need all the help they can get.